Hi, I'm an old guy and I do maths, and today we're looking at break-even points. Um, you're going to do this when you get into applications of linear equations and that sort of thing. And in order to do this, there are a few things that need to be understood. So the start of this video, anyway, is a little bit of an economics lesson. Um, a break-even point is the point at which the revenue, the income from a business, is equal to its expenses. It's the point at which it's not making a loss, but it's not yet making a profit. And I can remember being asked by a senior high school student of mine what a profit was after she had done maybe a year and a half of accounting. And so I think it's worthwhile here just making the point that the profit is equal to the revenue minus the costs. Now, where these are equal, there is no profit. Where costs are greater than revenue, there is a loss. Where revenue is greater than costs, there is a profit. The other things that we need to look at are the things that make up a cost structure. We have fixed costs. That might include rent, insurance, those sorts of things. And we have variable costs. Variable costs are the costs attached to each unit of production. So let's put this in terms that someone just doing mathematics might find readily understandable. That's the fixed cost. The variable costs are in here. That's the variable. Okay, so next step, what is revenue? Well, revenue is income, and that can be in the form of sales or fees. So if you're a manufacturing business, it's in the sales of your products. If, like me, you tutor, it's in the fees that I charge for each lesson. Okay, so those are the basics, those are the concepts. Let's move to an example. So here's an example that I've cooked up, and I'll just run through it. So a business sells a product for $10 per unit. That's what it charges its customers. It has fixed costs of $4,500. Now, remember that fixed costs in our linear equation go here. It has variable costs of $3 per unit. So I'm just going to write the variable cost part in here, and that is that. It's over the M. So y equals 3x plus c. M and variable costs are there, and those variable costs get multiplied by the number of units produced. Okay, so fixed costs are $4,500, variable costs are $3 per unit. At what point does the business make a profit? Well, it makes a profit when if I can do this with a couple of pens, imagine that this is the graph of your income, and this is the graph of your costs. This is the point at which costs are equal to income. Beyond that, income is greater than cost, and therefore you have a profit. Now, we can do away with the cheap demonstrations and have a look at this on a graph. Now, what I've done here is I've graphed the equations of this proposition. So let's just have a look at those equations and come back to this graph. So we were told that the variable costs of each unit of production were $3. This is a unit of production here. This is whatever this business sells. And that the fixed costs were $4,500, $4,500. We were also told, so this is the cost equation, we were also told that revenue is $10 per unit. So when they sell one unit, they get $10. Now what I have done, which fortunately you can see in this frame, is I've graphed the revenue line which starts here. So this is, we'll call it R, is equal to 10U. So that's $10 per unit. At $200, they're getting $2,000 in revenue, which approximates to the $2,000 mark here. Okay. Their costs are still way up here. So in this area of these graphs, this business is making a loss because revenue has not caught up with expenses. Let's look at the expenses graph. There's a fixed expense of $4,500. That's this. So like any linear equation, so y equals mx plus c, the c is the y-intercept, and y, in this case, is revenue in thousands of dollars, and these are units of production in hundreds. Okay, so when I graph these, I went out to 800 units for each, and I got this point here, and I got my graph for costs running out to here, which I haven't bothered to work out what the costs are here exactly, because that's not part of the question. The question was, what is the break-even point? And there are the usual ways of finding the point at which two graphs intersect. A very good drawing will do it. You could graph these on an application on your computer, and you can or your calculator, and you can find the exact point. We can work it out with a very simple little simultaneous equation, and that's what I've done down here. So what we want to know is where the cost structure is equal to the revenue structure. That is the break-even point. And having found that, we can say some other things about the information that we have. So we set up this equation, 3u plus 4,500 is equal to 10u. And we can rearrange that, 4,500 is equal to 7u. So u, the units of production necessary for these two equations to equal each other, is 4,500 divided by 7, which is in fact a fractional unit of production because it's 642.85 units, and I've rounded that up to 643. Now you can see that at this point on this graph, this is the point at which they intersect, and this is the rounded number because we're not going to sell 0.85 of a unit. Okay, so the number of units sold, 643, those are $10 each, so that's $6,430. If you put 643 into this cost equation, you'll find that you get this answer. I'm going to do that now, just so that you can see that. So 3 times 643 plus 4,500. There we are. Allowing for rounding, we're there. Okay, so that is how you find a break-even point using linear equations, given the information that you have about revenue and costs. What else can you say? This is a loss-making enterprise before this point. This is a profit-making enterprise after this point. And how you work out what the profits are is it's whatever y value you have here minus the y value here, which you can, if you want, turn into a single equation, but that's not our business here. So just to reiterate, loss making before here, this is the cost line, this is the revenue line, break even point here, profit equals cost, revenue equals cost, get that right, revenue equals cost. Here revenue is greater than cost, and that gives us a profit. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I hope this was useful. See you next time.